It just depends on the company. If it's a software as a service business, I would expect, with like the competitive advantage is the software, but it's replicable. So let's pretend it's a workflow SaaS biz that's focused on enterprise. I would say, it's starting to get interesting and pretty competitive around, say, 300,000 in annual recurring revenues, 350K in annual recurring revenues with some reasonable growth rate, some customer diversification, et cetera, but large enough deal sizes typically. And then what we're expecting is our capital come in, somewhere between 300 and 500K in ARR. And this is not definitive. There's different scenarios, right? Entrepreneurs that have done this before, the bar is a little bit different if they've had a track record of success. Med tech companies, it's different. But our goal with a SaaS company that meets a profile like that is to make sure there's sufficient capital coming into the business to fund growth to $2 million in ARR so that they can go and command a Series A, and it be more of a seller's market than a buyer's market. It can be a competitive process, and is interesting for a wider variety of VCs downstream.
So, sorry, if I understand correctly, you are saying about 300 to 500K of ARR as criteria for entering the seed fund?
Yeah, for a true seed round that's like 1.5 to 2.5 million, yes. To have to do a pre-seed round of $1 million or less, that the criteria would be different.
So I was going to ask John what he sees with companies that are getting this, I guess, based on that definition, pre-seed funding, say 500,000, with respect to just basic revenue. So is there anyone getting money that is not in revenue yet?
Not that I've seen, not in a service like a SaaS type business. So you have to prove out the model. So I also work at Velocity now, so I've been helping them with some of their fundraising. And so I have a lot of insight kind of also into the US seed space, or pre-seed space. And I saw companies with 150K US ARR struggling to raise $500,000. So we kind of reframed their ask and got them.
So I said I was going to beat you guys all down?
Yeah.
So in other words, no to pre-revenue, which is the bulk of this.
No. I would say that's not entirely true. What's your business? What's the competitive advantage? What's the team look like? Those are compensating factors. What pre-seed investors did you bring around the table that add credibility or open doors? What partnerships do you have? It's not just about revenue, but if you're showing up and saying, hey, I'm brand new, I have a pitch deck, as Kevin said, and I haven't done anything yet, we're going to look at that and go, that's not traction. And so traction isn't just revenue. It's a combination of things that are building blocks for the business to help you grow efficiently.
And your industry and vertical matter. And that's kind of what Aaron was saying. So if you're a med tech company that's pre-revenue, you can still probably raise seed because it depends where you are in the FDA process. But if you are a software-based company that has to sell and you're able to kind of ramp up sales very quickly, if you haven't achieved that traction, then maybe that's a signal from the market. And that's where you have to kind of look at the company more holistically. But it really depends on background, like what your company's actually doing.
Yeah, so we just funded a med tech company. The round size turned out to be about $4.5 million US pre-revenue, with Equation and some other folks. But what are we looking at there? So FDA, they were well down the path. Device worked and had fidelity. The team had advisors that were extremely credible, had spent time in the space and sold companies for north of $100 million, and one of those folks was joining the board, okay? They had been through Y Combinator and gone through that entire process. The syndicate of investors that we as generalists were asked to participate alongside with had domain experience in med tech. And one of which was a CEO of a therapeutics company. Another one was one that we co-invested on another med tech company with. Another one of the investors was the CEO of a public company that commercializes technology in a similar space. Some of them were potential customers and users of the technology. So do you see how it starts adding up? You start stacking these non-revenue items in the ledger, and you're looking down the side and you're going, that's a real business.
And they did all of that without money, for the most part, very
Yeah.
small amounts.
Like sub $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.